Today we are going to be looking at the I can statement of I can round whole numbers to the nearest 1,000, 10,000, and 100,000. Now we've already looked at how to round numbers on a number line. Today we're going to look at a rounding rule. So we're going to start with the number 527,419. And if we want to round to the nearest 1,000, we are going to look at the thousands place. And we're going to underline that thousands place just like we do when we look at a number line. But then our rule is to look at our neighbors, okay? And we're going to look at our neighbor to the right. So the neighbor to the right is a 4, and we are going to circle that 4. Now, if the neighbor to the right is 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, then that neighbor is letting you be yourself. And when your neighbor lets you be yourself, that means you don't change. You're going to stay a 7. Okay? Your neighbor's going to tell you to be yourself, be proud of who you are, which is a 7. Okay? If your number next door, if your neighbor is a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, your neighbor's kind of bossy and tells you to change. And when your neighbor tells you to change, they want you to go up by 1 digit. So when your neighbor is bossy, they want you to go up and change. When your neighbor is not bossy, it wants to let you be yourself. So let's go ahead and look. We have our 7 and we're looking next door to the 4. Is the 4 in this set of numbers or this set of numbers? That's right, it's in this set of numbers. It's going to let you be yourself. So you are going to stay exactly the same. Once your neighbor helps you out, the reason we circled it is because he becomes a 0. When your neighbor helps you out, they go away, they go back into their house, they've done their duty, and everything goes to zeros. But what about these digits beforehand? They stay exactly the same. If we were to look at our number line, we would have our 527,000 here, and we'd have our 528,000 here, because that's the next 1,000, and our midpoint would be 527,500. Now, where would the 400 go? 100, 200, 300, 400. It'd be about right here. So which direction would that be closer to? Yep, you guessed it, it's closer to 527,000. So the rule and the number line match. They both do the same thing. The rule just has you look at your place value. The number line has you actually mapping out your place value. So let's look at another number. 657,821. And let's round this number to the nearest 100,000. So again, we're going to underline our 100,000s place, and we're going to look to our next door neighbor and we're going to circle that person. So our next door neighbor is a 5. So which place does our 5 go? Is it in the first list of numbers that lets you be yourself, or is it the second list of number which tells you to change and go up by 1? That's right, it is in the second list of numbers. The 5 is in the second list. So what's going to happen to my 6? It's going to go up by 1. So 6 plus 1 is 7. Now once the 5 has helped us out or told us to change, it goes away, which is why we circled it. It's going to leave and there's only going to be a 0 left. So that's where we fill in the rest of our zeros. Again, if we are on a number line, we have our 600,000 because that's our biggest place, and the next benchmark would be 700,000. The midpoint would be 650,000. So where would this 57,821 go? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm still not to 50. Oh, there's my 50. 57 is going to be about right here. So we are going to be closer to 700,000. So again, our number line matches our rounding rule. So we've got our rounding rule of underlining the number that you're looking at, where you're rounding to, looking next door to the right, circling that number, and deciding if it's going to let you be yourself or if it's going to tell you to change and go up by 1. There's also a little rhyme that says 4 or less, just ignore. 5 or more, add 1 more. And that's also a little rule that you might have heard in 3rd grade that also says this same thing. If your number is less than 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, or 0, you're just going to ignore what it tells you to do and stay yourself. If your number is 5 or more, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you're going to add 1 more. And that's what we did up here. It changes your number to 1 more. So again, we can use a rounding rule or we can use a number line in order to round numbers to the nearest 1,000, 10,000, and 100,000.